And Kevin Miller in the morning here. Blessed to be a part of your day at Terry's Cafe in Meridian. Our Unity Breakfast continues. Stop by, enjoy the great food, the great fun. And we do want to thank Ray Amaya back at the Broadcast Center, our on-site producer, Joe King, and our executive producer, our friend George, who is monitoring us even as we speak. And it's good to have George with us as well. The entire crew here, and Senator Russ Fulcher joining us now, the Republican nominee for Congress in the 1st Congressional District. Congratulations, sir.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. And it's always a privilege to be with you. And you've been very kind in allowing me a mouthpiece every now and then. And so just thank you for what you do.
Well, we appreciate that. So what's it been like for you?
Still wondering when the next portion of sleep comes in.
Right?
No, it's been fabulous. And I heard Steve Ackerman talk just a few minutes ago, and when I was coming in, and I thought, why do I even bother to sit down? Because I thought he said things really, really well. And it has to do with the help that we've had and the people around it who were willing to really pitch in and work. And it's because we have a common belief system and a common cause. And people got behind us. People jumped into this campaign and just made it doable and really encouraging for me.
Let's talk about business. You know, we usually talk about politics going back to your time at Micron, your time as a commercial real estate agent and broker and developer now. We take a look at the business of the Treasure Valley, and as the Republican nominee and hopefully the next congressman from the Gem State, what is our area need as far as business development in cooperation with the federal government? Because you have your jurisdiction, then you have the state offices, as you know, as being an elected official here in the state.
I think the role of the federal government on that front is to make sure that we've got a level playing field, and so that the businesses of Idaho, industry in Idaho, our ag base, simply has the ability competitively to be on the same level playing field as the rest of our international competitors do. That's really all the authority the federal government has. There's two things. Article 1, Section 8, Kevin, in the Constitution that really are pointed out as the proper role of the federal government. One is, of course, military, homeland security. The other is international commerce and regulating international commerce, not interstate. But that's why I say there is a role for the federal government just to make sure that our businesses, our industries are not disadvantaged when it comes to a worldwide trade.
When you take a look at running now as the party nominee, which you've done in the past as a member of the state Senate, now as a member of Congress, back on the trail, back on the 1st District, and you're going to have opposition from the other party.
We are, and this is not a done deal. I smile to myself. And I shouldn't even mention the local print publication by name because
we could just leave it at the local print publication.
The local print publication is so incredibly giddy over the new Democratic nominee, and that's wonderful. But to that end, we cannot take anything for granted. I have a race, and I have to get back into the campaign trail and make sure I prevail in that race. Now, in this state, the Republicans are advantaged, and so we carry that banner. We carry it proudly, but we take nothing for granted. And one of the things that I appreciate about KIDO is perhaps there's an opportunity to communicate and be heard when some of the other, let's say, print publications don't allow that to happen.
Well, and it's funny because it seems like now media has chosen its teams, and we'll see how that plays out. Let's talk a little bit about the number one issue based on your professional, political, and life experience that this race will be about.
Well, it's going to wind up being about probably immigration issues and health care issues. Those are on the top of the minds of Idahoans, and there's going to be some very distinct differences between my positions on those and the positions of my opponent. I do not know my opponent. As far as I know, we've never met. And all I've just seen is just kind of a briefing as to where they potentially stand on some of these things. And it looks to me like there's going to be some pretty stark differences.
When we take a look at bringing the party together, as we were talking about with Steve Ackerman and others, easier said than done. You were targets of negative advertising. Of course, David Leroy, a class act this morning, was the first person on praising you, and he will have someone there today to say, look, we unite behind Senator Fulcher, and it's game on.
Well, I remember another one of these circumstances in 2014, and I came up a little bit short in a gubernatorial race at that point in time. And so I got a perspective on maybe being on both sides of this equation. Right after a primary, things are kind of raw, and there's a lot of wounds that need to heal. You know, just the emotional. Everybody's human, okay? And I don't care what anybody says. Well, I got a thick skin, and that's all well and good. But let's face it. You know, when your family takes abuse, or when you take abuse, or whatever, it does have an impact. I'm no different. And so it usually takes just a little bit of time to get over that and to realize, hey, look, this is politics. We have to look at the bigger picture, and it's time to move on. I can tell you it's a little easier when you prevail and you're on the winning side.
Sure.
But still, it's necessary. And I can't think of a more stark example of that, Kevin, than the 2016 presidential race and what transpired there with President Trump. And that was a big challenge for people to come together after that. But that's our challenge on a smaller level in Idaho, and we're initiating that with your breakfast here today.
Senator Fulcher, we appreciate you. Truly a good guy in and outside the arena, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, take care. We continue on. Liberty Linda clapping there. We appreciate her clapping. Kevin Miller in the morning here. KIDO Talk Radio. Is there a young man over here that wants to speak? This gentleman here. He is with us. And, sir, just introduce yourself to the listening public. Good morning.
Good morning. I am Steve Simmons. I am the only Republican candidate for District 18.
Well,
came to say hi, and I'm glad that we're having a unity breakfast to get people to unify and participate. We really need it.
What was it like running, being a part of the process?
It's a little scary for me because it's new. I am new to the scene and getting involved with this process, but it is very exciting to see how it's all working, to see what issues people have and what they want to see done.
Now, you sound like a young man to me. I don't know if you're what side of 40, but how old are you, sir?
I am 27.
You're 27.
So yeah, definitely on the younger side.
And you're running in the process. Why is it important to you? Most people your age, and here I go being the old man in the backyard and get off my lawn. But I was born to do that as a young person. Why is it important to you to get involved in the process at such a young age?
I've been following the politics for our state and our country for a while, and I just saw an opportunity. In District 18, we have been represented by Democrat Party, majority Democrats, for several years now, and we have no Republicans running. None, again. So
the Republicans have been wiped out.
Yes, they've been wiped out. But statistically, there are more registered Republicans in District 18. Where are they? Why are we not coming out? Why are we not participating? Are we just not getting good candidates? Or
tell us about District 18, because a lot of us, I don't know District 18 from District 19.
District 18.
Or Area 51.
Yeah. District 18 covers most of southeast Boise. So from east of Vista, south of Warm Springs, just that whole big chunk of southeast Boise.
Well, what would you like to say to those people, sir?
We need your participation. We had huge turnouts for both sides, both Republicans and Democrats. And one concern, even my own neighbor said, I have to vote Democrat because I'm poor. And that shocked me. I'm like, how am I competing with this? We need to have a better message that we need to help everybody. We need to make sure everyone's involved and their concerns are heard.
Your website, your Facebook, if people would like to get involved, sir?
My website is steveforidaho18.com, and you can also find me on Facebook by just searching Steve Simmons.
Steve Simmons, we appreciate you. Your number one issue, besides running as a Republican, when you're for the state Senate campaign, what's your number one thing? Is it the grocery tax? Is it gas tax? What are you going to do for us
Very good question, as everyone wants to know. The biggest issues I keep hearing, again, are healthcare and education. So education I want to look at. Is it really a problem where we just need to throw more money at it, or is there program changes that need to happen? So I need to talk to the people that are involved and know and get this fixed.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by. Your website one more time.
SteveForIdaho18.com.
And tag me on Facebook. We'd love to talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you,
Kevin.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio from Terry's Cafe. The Unity Rally continues. Let's go to Mick in Kuna with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mick.
Good morning, Kate Millie. This is Nicholas with the opposition party. I would go ahead and assume, go ahead and say, I don't really think I'm in opposition of you, because I'm part of the Miller militia, but I am the Democratic candidate for Senate in District 22.
Now, wait a minute. You're a Democrat and you're calling in on this program. You're a brave young man. Now, it's Nick, not Mick, right?
Nick with an M, and I actually met you at the Riverside the other night, came and introduced myself and followed up with an email as well, because, there's a lot of things that I think you've been doing well in the community, and I appreciate that.
Well, give us your speech, sir.
Yeah, so with regards to some of my platform and plans, and thank you for that gentleman, the young gentleman who was just on, for putting his hat in the race. I'm on the south side of the H40 as well. I'm 33. So I think having the younger generation jump into this race gives us a new perspective on a different way of solving problems and bringing different solutions. So what I'd like to do in my district is really focus on the education system, because I am a parent who has children enrolled in the public school system, and we're active participants in their lives and their education and their development with regards to the online resources like iReady. And that's something that should be available for everybody. So having that access to broadband internet is a critical piece of setting up our kids for success in the future in the rural areas, like 22.
Well, Mick, what's your website? Do you have a website or a Facebook, sir?
I do. My website is mick4id22.com. And then also have Mick Lucifer District 22 on the Facebook as well.
Well, I don't know when you emailed me, but if I haven't gotten back to you, maybe, like I said, I was out of the office about 2 or 3 yesterday. But you can always tag me or message me on Facebook as well. And we always encourage people, young, old, or whatever, to be involved in politics. So we definitely want to have you back on, and we appreciate you thinking of us and giving us an opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having the whole debate rallies, I mean, that was very innovative on your part, to rally people around a common cause. And I would just preface this as saying the unity breakfast is more the Miller militia as opposed to one party or the other, because you cast a wide net, Kevin Miller.
Mick, thank you. You take care, sir.
Thanks.
And that's such a great responsibility when we're expanding the base, and everybody's welcome. We may not always agree, but everybody is welcome here in the morning and throughout the day on KIDO Talk Radio with Glenn, Dave, Sean, and Lars. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to the Irish Cowboy in Blaine County with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Irish Cowboy.
Mr. Miller, good morning. I just want to make a quote from a great movie, one of John Wayne's great movies, McClintock. People, people, people. Put on your big boy pants or big girl pants and get behind our candidates that we elected. Or that's our right. This is the process, and you had your chance to put your candidate in office. The outcome came out as it has, and it's time we get behind our governor, the lieutenant governor, who I think is going to be a great choice for Idaho, Janice McGeehan. We are on the brink of seeing something disastrous if we don't unite. Kevin, I sent you a message last night. It's follow the money. And this candidate who's on the other side of the ticket running for governor is getting a lot of money from out of state. She's traveling out of state. Her views aren't in sync with the people of Idaho. And we need to get our candidates on our side of the ticket in office, no matter what. I'm sure Liberal Steve is sitting there jumping up and down for his girl that he voted for. What say you?
Agreed. And that's why we're here at Terry's Cafe, bringing everybody together. Whether we agree or not, politically or on opinions, it's great to have people together talking about the political process.
I watched Blaine County go from a very conservative county years ago to a very blue, liberal county, and it's terrible. I mean, these out-of-staters moved in. You know, they want the Idaho way, but they want to bring their little utopia that they came from, California, New York, wherever, Oregon, Washington, and just ruin that county. And I'm here in the Treasure Valley. I am down the street from you, Mr. Miller. I ran for a couple positions in the city of Star, and you know, I will do my damnedest to defeat the Blues.
All right, Irish Cowboy.
Away.
You're right. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Kevin Miller in the morning. More from Terry's Cafe next on KIDO Talk Radio. And we continue on. Coming up next, traffic and weather together. A lot going on here today. Don't forget the Unity Rally at 10 at the state capitol. We'll be there. So appreciate Lawrence Wasden coming down, Russ Fulcher coming down, and so many members of the Miller Militia. Before we get to Liberal Steve, we go to our great friend Lori Lister-Frost joining us now. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Kevin. Great to see you.
Great.
You're always a great supporter of freedom, and you're very talented, and you're very fun.
Well, thank you.
Fun to look at,
You're going to make me blush now all of a sudden. What would you like to say about the results of the primary?
So I am supporting the new governor. I supported Tommy Alquist in this race, and I know I knew all the major candidates, but I felt like the leadership and the new ideas were really helpful, would have been very helpful to Idaho. But I am supporting the governor, and I do think we need to come together in unity. And I think it's good for him to remember, too, that about 2/3 of the Republican voters did not vote for him, and that they appreciate some of the ideas of some of the other candidates. And I hope some of that will come forward, especially in reducing the size of government, the waste in agencies, because it is, you know, these are good people, civil servants that work in these agencies and so on, and our legislators need to be commended. But we need to really look at how we can reduce the impact of government and be more streamlined. And also in education, there were some great ideas promoted about education, and especially about health care. That has to be fixed. So I think we need to come together. But I also wanted to mention that I'm wearing my button for Convention of States, and I do believe that I hope the Idaho legislature this next year will consider that. They gave it a hearing, but it did not get out of committee. And that is something that needs to happen. We need to have term limits. And I called in a couple, 3 weeks ago and talked to Mike Simpson and told him that I'm a grandma, a lot of grandkids, and I told him that I have 8 kids, and one of my boys was born in 1978 in November. And that year, some of the same people were elected that are sitting in Congress right now.
Right.
That is not the way the framers intended. So I asked Mike Simpson if he would step down, and he gave the message that we need professional politicians, and I don't agree with that. I think we need turnover, and I hope Governor Little will consider being a one-term governor. I think we need some new ideas. So I appreciate his service. I appreciate everybody's service. But
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Kevin.
Well, Lori, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Traffic and weather. And coming up, more of your phone calls next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And coming up, we'll talk to the chairman of the State Republican Party, Jonathan Parker, joining us here at Terry's Cafe. We'll get to him in 2 seconds. First, out to the White House. John Decker joining us from Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Mr. Decker, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Well, not bad. You know, it's a little different being at the White House than at Terry's Cafe in Meridian, Idaho. But people here are talking about this North Korean thing and that it might not happen.
Well, that's right. It might not happen. I mean, even the White House is acknowledging that after the comments yesterday from the Foreign Ministry of North Korea. It's scheduled to take place on June the 12th in Singapore, but it may not happen on that date. It may happen perhaps later this summer. That we even heard that today from Kellyanne Conway when asked about whether or not the summit is still on. The White House and the State Department still planning for it occurring on June the 12th in Singapore, but they also realize at the same time that it could be canceled or the date could be pushed back.
John Decker joining us here. Sarah Sanders, please turn down the mics in the room here. So Tea Party Bob is yelling at me right now. I'm intimidated. But anyway, back to the point, John Decker, when we're taking a look at the White House press conference yesterday, Sarah Sanders saying, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Well, that's the U.S. digging in its heels, perhaps realizing that North Korea is trying to flex its muscles to some extent, but the U.S. is prepared for any eventuality. The president's saying as much as well, you know, when he continually says as it relates to this summit, we'll have to wait and see whether it happens, and we'll see what actually emerges from the meeting that ultimately takes place between President Trump and Kim Jong-un.
And, of course, the president very active on Twitter today, as always, when we're looking at just commenting on whether it's the election in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania yesterday, your old stomping grounds, or action today, sir.
Well, look, the White House very much paying attention to what's happening around the country in terms of political races. That's why the president weighed in on the Pennsylvania Senate primary race, choosing the candidate that will run against Bob Casey. They've now done that, and so it's going to be a very tough race for Bob Casey. I think he's got the built-in advantage as the incumbent. Of course, the Casey name is so well known in Pennsylvania, but the White House still hoping that perhaps this is one of those races that may be one in which Republicans can actually pick one off and add one to their total in the Senate, where the margin is just 51 Republicans to 49 Democrats.
John Decker, we so appreciate you joining us today, and thank you very much, sir.
Kevin, thanks a lot. You have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Yes, sir. Jonathan Parker joining us now, chairman of the State Republican Party here. Mr. Parker, good to have you with us.
Kevin, thanks for having me, and thanks for hosting the Idaho GOP official Unity Party day and radio broadcast. So,
you know, tell us a little bit about today and why it's important, sir.
So obviously Tuesday was a momentous election, once in a generation election. We had a tremendous field of candidates who stepped forward. They put their name out there, and you know, I salute those folks that did that had the blood, the guts to commit and such. But not everybody could win. And one thing I know about Idaho Republicans is that following the primary election, and it was my pledge that I'm going to support and rally and unite the party behind our eventual nominees to ensure that we're successful against the Democrats in November, because too much is at stake this year to lead to chance and let the Democrats have any opportunity for success. Well, and you take a look at Paulette Jordan beating A.J. Belukoff. As someone who has been so involved in politics for so many years, what do you think of that one? Good question. I'm actually not surprised that Paulette won. She is a very liberal Democrat. She's outspoken in her liberal views, and she has a voting record. And I believe once we expose that record to the people of Idaho and they understand, people will realize she does not share Idaho values. She is very far to the left, and as I mentioned, we're going to rally behind our current lieutenant governor, who's our governor nominee, Brad Little. Love and really appreciate Raul Labrador and Tommy Alquist for stepping forward. And again, we had a tremendous field of candidates, but Raul and Tommy are going to be there today at the State House steps to rally and support Brad Little for governor, because, as I mentioned, we cannot leave this to Paulette Jordan to become governor and ruin a lot of the progress we made, but also continued progress, which, I have a vision for Idaho being the shining city on the hill.
Let's talk about the rally at the State House steps. Can anybody show up?
Yes, everybody's welcome to join. We'd love to have you join. I'll be welcoming the crowd, recognizing Kevin and KIDO for the good work you guys have done. And again, we truly appreciate this opportunity. All of our nominees will get the opportunity to speak. Everybody can get that opportunity. News outlets will be there, but we'd love to have all our listeners join us, 10 a.m., State House steps, and for our unity rally, because it is so important.
It is. Let's get back to the governor's race one final time. Are you happy with the statements from Dr. Alquist and Congressman Labrador? One of the toughest, if not the toughest, races we've seen in the last 20 years.
Yes, I'm extremely happy, and spoke with and called both of them yesterday, and and I get it. It is a very challenging thing when you throw your name out there and you don't win, and unfortunately, a majority of the candidates did run, which I believe demonstrates the enthusiasm out there, but not everybody can win, and but one thing I do know is that if you don't win, it is important to rally behind our Republicans for both your potential future as a candidate, for our party, but also for what's at stake in 2018, which is a once-in-a-generation election that will impact a generation to come. And to leave that to Paulette Jordan to run our state, a liberal Democrat, I'm not going to take that chance.
Mr. Parker, thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to spread the message, sir.
Kevin, thank you. We appreciate you very much, and keep up the good work.
I'll see you at 10. Thank you, sir. Take care. Let's go to Liberal Steve now at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Good morning, Miller. Man, got a lot of rowdy dowdies down there that think they're going to take it in 2019, don't you? Well, don't you? They think they're going to win, don't they? And so, come on, Kevin. Anthony, do you think they're going to win? We are going to slaughter the Republicans in 2019. Paulette Jordan will be the governor. Christine will be the lieutenant governor. And the green bean is 2019. I mean, come on. When Paulette's done campaigning, she'll be able to go down onto Capitol Street, shoot somebody, and people will applaud and still vote for her. She'll be able to stand at a podium and make fun of a retarded person. She'll be able to sleep with a porn star and they'll still vote for her.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate you. Let's go to Kevin in Meridian at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Kev. All right, let's go to Tea Party Bob, who joins us now at Terry's Cafe in Meridian. Your thoughts?
I'm a little bit disappointed.
Thought you were going to get physical with me when we had to have the state party chairman on instead of you for a moment.
No, we were going Jonathan. He's a company man.
I thought we were going to have Joe King put you in a pretzel.
Somebody has to be at his center here. I'm not happy with all the outcomes, as you know.
Are you going to pull a Cindy?
No, I'm not going to pull a Cindy, but I will tell you that
back the nominee?
I am not going to back the nominee.
You're not going to back the nominee?
Sir. No, sir. I can't. I've dealt with him for 9 years, along with the Auto Administration. I have been against a lot of.
Now, wait a minute. You know the idea that unless you're here at the Unity Breakfast, if you're not at the Unity if you're not here to unify, then
see
we might have some issues. But that's the theme.
That's the problem with what goes on in politics, is you're willing to unify behind somebody who has not done what I consider to be the right thing for the people of Idaho.
Who let this guy on the air? That would be me.
That would be your problem.
You need to agree with me. This is agreement radio.
You know what, Kevin, I usually agree with you, but unfortunately I can't do it this time.
For all the people that say, oh, it's you and Bob, see, now we're having a real-life disagreement.
It's a family spat, so to speak.
Indeed.
So, yeah, I'm happy that Janice won, and I do think if she stands up and holds on to her position strongly in the Senate, we can defeat some of these measures that I can see coming up in the next year or two. And hopefully she will do that. I think that was one of the better things that happened. I'm happy that Russ Fulcher won. I think we've got a couple of people who actually are going to make a difference, both in the congressional area and in the state government. But as far as Brad goes, Brad's a nice guy. I don't particularly care for his politics, and I don't particularly care for the cronyism. And I really hated the vitriol that came out of his campaign going after the other candidates, which a viciousness I have never seen before. And that was perpetrated by the people who actually are backing him, the Prosperity Fund and the basic lobbyists who have controlled this state for the last 12 years, actually more, almost like 20. He used to be the chairman of that Prosperity Fund, not Prosperity Fund, but IACI. So I understand why they backed him, but I thought it was a terrible campaign, filled with a lot of vicious comments that were untrue. And I could only hope that changes in the next 4 years and we see some difference made and some people change the way they're doing things.
Well, thank you for that message of unity today.
You know what? It is what it is.
Well, we appreciate that.
Sometimes you have to be the voice of dissension.
Oh, you're right. And you're ready. There's not a better person to do that than you.
I try hard.
Right. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And here we are with Aaron and Rob, Team Mazda Subaru. We always want to thank you, gentlemen, for your tireless support of our efforts, getting ready for Miller's Mission, of course, coming off the big primary. And here we are at Terry's Cafe. Good morning.
Good morning, Miller's Mission next week. We're excited.
Yeah, indeed. If we can get your mics right. One of you is blowing out my ears. The other one I can't hear.
Check 1, 2. Check.
Yes. So when we take a look at
sibilance,
so much going on in the world today, what do you make of the event here at Terry's Cafe?
You guys nailed it. I've never seen you in a tie before. You look outstanding.
Dress for success. Lots of people, steady traffic coming in to talk to you.
Indeed.
You got a lot of followers.
Yes, thank you very much. I was going to say, this is where they make me feel uncomfortable here at KIDO Talk Radio. So we take a look at Miller's Mission. Obviously, we couldn't do it without your support. Year in and year out, twice a year. This is a very important event. Clothes for kids.
Yeah, it's a big deal this year. Reverend Bill came out with you, and we took a picture, and we're excited. Once again, we'll be out there, and we're trying to drive dollars.
It's very important. You as a father, you as a grandfather, Aaron.
Thanks, Kevin. But it is important. It's one of our favorite things that we do every year. Rob and I look forward to it. Everybody at team looks forward to it. And there's not a better cause to support than children and rehabilitating people with the mission. And it's just great. And it's easy to follow you. You've always are doing the best things for the community. So we really enjoy it.
Getting people back on their feet is what we need to do as a community.
Indeed. What's going on this week at team?
This week at team, we are supporting Kevin Miller.
We're gearing up. We're gearing up, getting clothes, getting the word out, gearing up for the mission.
Yeah, it's all about the mission.
Indeed. It is important so much to give back to the community. Quickly, final thoughts.
Last year we had great success driving dollars. We're just challenging everybody who's out there to support this mission with Kevin. He'll be there all week at the Walmart, Garrity. He lives there.
He lives there. He lives lots of coffee, energy drinks, home-cooked meal, whatever he needs.
It's all about Kevin Miller next week, Garrity. Let's drive dollars for the kids.
Thank you both.
You're welcome.